Queen is 95, but still refusing to hand over the crown to her son, Prince Charles. In fact, she's still working, we're told, even though she has now caught COVID, a real issue for someone her age. We're told she has just mild cold-like symptoms, but then again, the palace has not been quite honest enough in the past about health scares, her and her late husband. Joining me is Brendan O'Neill, political editor of the online magazine Spiked. Brendan, first of all, do you believe the story that she's fine?
Well, it's hard to tell, isn't it? Because, as you say, the palace is not always entirely honest when it comes to the Queen's health, or certainly there have been shady claims in the past that haven't quite stacked up. As you say, it's very worrying for a 95-year-old to contract COVID. So lots of people in the UK will be very worried about this. The Queen is a part of this nation and has been for a very long time. So people are worried about what's going to happen to her. I'm also worried about what's going to happen once she does die, which is an inevitability, of course, at some point, and the prospect of King Charles III, which fills me with utter dread. So the Queen catching COVID brings lots of political questions to the surface as well.
Brendan, I actually brought you on to reassure me, but you're actually feeding my fears. Why are you as scared of the words King Charles as I am?
Well, Charles, I mean, first of all, his charity is currently being investigated by the police for a cash for honours scandal. So you have this situation where another member of the royal family is bringing shame on the Queen in the latter years of her life, which I just think is despicable. I wish that generation of royals would just learn how to behave themselves. But also Charles, on top of that, Charles is a very political royal. He's not afraid about meddling in political discussion. He's constantly raising the issue of climate change alarmism, and he kind of mixes with the Davos set and wants to be seen as part of that kind of woke, green, new establishment. So we're facing the prospect of something we haven't had in this country for a very long time, which is a politically interventionist monarch, a monarch who would throw his weight around in certain political arenas, and that would be bad for democracy, and he would promote some pretty cranky political ideas.
Well, that hits all the targets that I have on that topic. The British government has hired our former Foreign Minister Alexander Downer to review your border force in Britain after more than 28,000 illegal immigrants sailed there from Europe, especially France, last year. The thing is, Brendan, we're already hearing from the same old critics over there what the same old critics over here said when the Abbott government was saying, they're going to stop the boats. No, you can't. But can you? For instance, is turning them back really as illegal as we are told?
Well, the question here, I think, a lot of the kind of legality stuff is blown out of proportion. The idea that we have no control whatsoever over our borders and over who arrives in our country because of international treaties, it's just not true. There are ways in which you can either leave international treaties or assert your national sovereignty over them. The thing is that some people just don't want to do that. And we have a situation in this country where the outgoing head of the UK border force last year, as he was leaving, he described borders as such a bloody pain in the arse. And he said, basically, he was saying, God, I can't believe we have to police our borders. This was the head of the UK border force. So we have a situation where they just don't want to uphold territorial integrity. They don't believe in borders. They don't believe in nation states anymore. So the more fundamental problem here, people will say, oh, it's racist to push back immigrants and all that kind of nonsense that's said. But actually, it's about a ruling class that has lost belief in borders and belief in the nation state and doesn't really care about who comes to this country. And that's the political issue we need to grapple with.
Mate, that's a cultural issue as well. And how familiar it seems from 8, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. So true. Brendan O'Neill, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for interrupting your break in Spain for us. Really appreciate it.